Selling your stock footage or B-rolls can bring in a nice little passive income by selling through marketplaces online. Links in the description below. So let's see how Filmora can help you stand out in the crowd with great looking videos. Creating stock videos for sale isn't just about creating footage that is trending. It's about having interesting and quality footage. It's also very important to have a good and relevant title and description for your videos so that it can be found. Let's have a look at some types of popular footage. Drone shots are quite popular, and I've got some footage here from my holiday in Scotland last year, and you can see I have drone footage here. Now what you can do, because this is such a long file, 4 minutes 50 seconds, let's drag that down onto the timeline to begin with, and I'll make the timeline the full width. Now like I said, this is actually nearly 5 minutes long, and because it's nearly 5 minutes long, we can actually chop this up and sell it as different videos, but part of a set. Now the minimum requirements is around about 5 seconds minimum, and you don't really want anything more than 30 seconds. You can do more than 30 seconds, but they seem to be the most popular. So we could chop our footage up, we could scrub through, and scrub through means when you're dragging the playhead along the timeline, and choose parts of the video that you want to keep. So for example, I like the start of that there, so we can right click on the footage there and choose select clip range. That'll bring up 2 green dotted lines, so you can actually grab them and drag them in. So this is where you want your footage to start, and let's grab the other green one there, the out point, and we'll take that down to, let's see, round about there. Let's see what that looks like. So we'll take it from the in point, play it, yeah, that's a nice bit of footage to begin with. So what we can do now is just export that piece of the footage. So if we right click within there and go to export selected range, and this is where we can name it. It's important that if your footage is recorded in 4K, you need to export it in 4K. So you've exported that piece. What we can do now is right click within there and cancel the selected range. Let's go further into our footage. So let's do a panning shot. So we'll start there, we'll right click on the footage, select clip range, we'll move the in point in again, and we'll drag the out point down to where we want it. That looks fine there. See what that looks like. Go from the start, which is about there, and play. Yeah, that's another nice shot, so I'm quite happy with that. Yes, so again, I will right click on the footage, export selected range, and always export it in the higher quality if it's for sale. And we could do that right throughout the clip. So this will give us multiple clips of the same footage that we could sell as a series. Once you've exported that, don't forget to right click and cancel the selected range. Moving again, and just keep doing this throughout the video. There's also another easier way to select the clip range, and that's by going to the point where you want your footage to start, so there, and instead of this time right clicking on the footage, we can go up here to the play window and click on the little in point there, move our footage across to where we want it to end, say there, and click on the out point, and you can see it's done the same thing. It's selected that range. So we right click and export the selected range, and just continue to do that throughout your footage, and you'll end up with a series of clips that you've got ready for sale. If you haven't got 4K footage, don't worry, 1080p is still usable. But if you think of how video resolution was a year or so ago, 720p was the norm. It then went to HD, 1080p, and it's now gone to 4K, and it will go to 8K, etc, etc. So to future-proof yourself, try and record in 4K, export it in 4K, and then upload it in 4K. This next piece of footage is recorded in 4K, and it's a ferry, and it's an interesting piece. So this has the attraction of being 4K, it has the attraction of motion in it, and it also has the attraction of something interesting and out of the norm. So let's just watch it first of all. It's interesting, it's got a bit of mist around it, proper Scottish weather, and it's 25 seconds long. So I'm happy to use that. So don't forget, when you go to export it, don't forget to export in the highest resolution you can. based on the resolution you first recorded it in. I recorded this in 4K 30 frames per second, and I'll export it at the highest quality. That will give me a nice clip to be able to upload and sell. Wildlife footage is another popular video to sell. So I've got a piece of footage here of a wood mouse, and that is about 50 seconds long, so I could get 2 clips out of that. Let's just have a quick look at that footage. Yeah, I can see how somebody could be interested in buying that. So like I said, I could split that in 2. So let me just do the in point at the beginning by clicking on there. I'll move the out point to approximately halfway. Let's say about 25, that'll do. And then I shall right click on the footage and export the selected range. Highest quality, 4K resolution, 30 frames per second. Then what I'll do is I'll take the out to the end, and I'll move the in point in to again about the same as where it went out. Yeah, that's a nice starting point. Let's just play that. He has a little scratch. Yeah, that's good. So we right click and export the selected range. This is a great way of chopping up your footage and exporting it as individual clips around 30 seconds long to upload and sell on marketplaces. I've got another little shot here of wildlife. It's only 8 seconds long, and while it's a nice piece of footage, you can see it wobbles in the middle for some reason when the deer lifts its head up. So let me just show you that again. Just before the deer lifts its head up, it wobbles. No idea why, but unfortunately that wouldn't be good enough to sell, and it's only 8 seconds long. It's above the 5-second minimum requirement, but because it's only 8 seconds long, I don't think I'll actually be able to chop it down before that wobble kicks in. It's touch and go on that one, so I wouldn't be happy exporting that one and trying to sell it. Time lapse is another popular stock footage to sell, so let's just look at this one. I actually created this one as a proper time lapse, taking individual photographs and then stitched it all together. It's fog rolling in on the Isle of Mull, and I think that would sell. If you haven't got a piece of footage that is time lapse, you can create one from footage you already have. So for example, let's use our drone footage that I dragged down earlier. Now if you want to create a time lapse, you have to make sure you've got a good length of footage. So for example, here we've got nearly 5 minutes. What you can do to create a time lapse from this standard footage is right click on the footage, go to speed and choose show speed control, and you'll see here when you hover your mouse over there, a little circle comes up with a dot. If you can't see this, you may have to make your timeline larger by clicking and dragging on the actual timeline. So let's go back to there, the speed duration, and I'll click and drag that right the way down, and I'm going to make it just about 30 seconds long. So you can see now that standard piece of footage has now become a time lapse. How clever is that? You simply export that piece of footage then, as always, in the highest resolution and frame rate you can, and that's good to go. I've got another piece of footage here of a waterfall. Now I like the sound of that waterfall, so long as there's nobody talking on it, that's fine. So we can keep that, because people might like to hear the audio as well as see the actual water flowing. So it's not a bad piece of footage as it is, but there's a couple of things we can do in Filmora to enhance it and make it look better. First thing we need to do, and notice there was a bit of a shake on it. So we can stabilize it. So click on the footage, go to the video tab, AI tools, and make sure you have the stabilization drop down clicked. Click on stabilization. You've got weak, normal or strong. I'll just leave it as normal for the time being. Then click to start the analysis of the video. This will then go through and stabilize the video. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on how bad the footage is, to be honest with you. So give that a minute or two and let that carry on. Okay, that's completed. Let's see how that's worked out. That's worked great on our footage. I'm quite pleased with that. Another thing we can do is we can enhance the footage using Filmora filters, just to make it look a bit brighter, make the green pop a bit more. So let's go to filters, and after doing a bit of a search, I found one called Vivid Horizon. So I'm going to drag and drop that onto the actual footage. Now see what happens when I drag it and put it over the footage. It immediately makes the green pop. Let me have a look at that again, side by side. Yeah, that really brightens it up and makes the green pop. I think that enhances it. And don't forget, there are thousands of filters that you can choose from. Some are paid, a lot of them are free, but you can also enhance the footage yourself just by going to the color tab and playing around with all settings there. You know, you could change the temperature, you could do the tint on it. Again, there are a lot of options to make the footage really pop and stand out from other videos similar to yours. So there's some advice on what you need to do and what you can do in Filmora to help sell your video footage. Don't forget to check the links out in the description below. They are links to places where you can sell your footage, sell your B-roll, and it'll also tell you the process you need to go through and the requirements. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification icon. That really does help my channel. As always, thanks for watching. Now go have some fun.